All right, a little bit of a surprise briefing here. We're going to be going live here to discuss today's severe threat as well as a flooding risk today across the state. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. Yeah, I fixed the audio. There's like a 20-second delay between the live time to when it's broadcasted. So give it a second. It'll pop in here soon. Yep, there you go. Perfect. All right, so we're going to pop in here. We're going to do a quick live stream here to discuss a risk for severe weather as well as flash flooding across the state. Let's go ahead and start. So yesterday's risk didn't really pan out. We had a very messy setup yesterday. We had a lot of rain out there, a lot of cloud cover. Not much storm fuel got built, and as a result, we only had one severe warning in the entire state, which is awesome. We did have flooding, though. Today could be a repeat. Let's talk about why. So currently on your screen is the current radar. We have a strong storm pushing toward the Lafayette area near Fowler and Attica. This could contain gusty winds right now. Current time is 9:20 a.m. It was severe in Illinois, and as it pushed into Indiana, they dropped the warning and went for a statement for 40 to 55 mile per hour winds. So that is going to be a interesting little start to the morning there. It is the only strong storm currently in the state, but if you take a look at the radar, we've got some isolated showers here from the North Indy area over here toward Terre Haute, and especially northern part of Indiana here toward the Gary, North Judson, Rensselaer area. This is slowly moving to the east as the morning progresses. So some rain out there, some thunder as well for you guys. Severe weather, I would say, is probably tied right now to this area right here. But that is going to be a low risk for right now, at least. But later on this afternoon, we have a risk that is showing up on models. We're going to talk about that. So go ahead and start with the SPC outlook. The latest Storm Prediction Center outlook here has most of central Indiana within a level 2 risk. Again, it's called a slight risk. That's a yellow color. Around that in dark green is a marginal risk. It's level 1. That's your low end risk. That for places further north like Lafayette, Muncie, down toward the Evansville area. Okay, that's your overall outlook today. Let's talk hazards. There's two of them again per the SPC. Damaging wind, primary concern today. The yellow zone has a 15 to a 29% chance of seeing a damaging wind gust within a 25 mile point. So for example, if you live in Bloomington, you have a 15 to 29% chance of seeing a damaging wind gust within a 25 mile radius of Bloomington. That applies anywhere within the yellow area. In the reddish brown color, it is a 5 to 14% chance, so lower probability, but still a risk to take seriously if you live in that brown colored area. Again, that's places a little north of Lafayette, north of Muncie, and then down toward the Evansville area. Per the SPC, we also have a low-end risk today for a tornado. It is a 2 to 4% chance, again, within 25 miles, anywhere in that green color. And the white color is just your regular base map. There's nothing there. There's no risk, or should I say less than 2% risk in the white colored areas. All right, now let's talk models. That's your risk area, so winds and perhaps a brief tornado. Let's talk models. Models have been kind of all over the place this year, so we're not going to put too much stock into these, so take it with a grain of salt as to what may happen, but not will happen, okay? So current time is 9:24 a.m. This is what the model thinks the radar should look like around 10 a.m. today. So it's kind of has it, but not really. Let's go to 11, let's go to noon. Basically what this is saying is the current stuff on radar out there is expected to kind of weaken as it pushes across the state. That probably will happen. But as we get toward the afternoon hours, this model has more development here. This is 1 p.m. Here's 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. There's a bit of a lull there toward that 3 or 4 p.m. time frame, but we push toward dinner time. Here's 5, here's 6. We have redevelopment of storms there close to Lafayette and Rensselaer, all the way over toward Kokomo. That is going to be the round we're going to watch for potential severe weather of more, we're going to say a large scale event. So this is 8 o'clock here, p.m. Eastern. Here's 9 p.m. Here's 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and then here's midnight. Storms are still ongoing at midnight. Here's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and that's where the model stops. So the model stops at 1 a.m. there. Storms are still ongoing, but they form roughly around dinner time, according to the latest model here, from about Lafayette, Rensselaer, over toward Kokomo, maybe toward Fort Wayne area. Those are going to drift to the south-southeast, and that will be what we're going to be keeping an eye on for some severe weather, damaging winds, perhaps a brief tornado. That's one model. What about other models? So we're going to take a peek here at the other RFS model. So currently, as of 9 a.m., this is what the model thinks is happening right now. Again, not really having a good handle on things, but as we push toward noon here, here's 1 p.m., 2 p.m., that dies out. There's our afternoon lull in the action, and then by the 6 p.m. time frame, this has storms developing a little further south on this model toward, we're going to say, just north of Vincent's and Terre Haute area, toward Bloomington as well. Here is 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and midnight. So this model a little bit further south with its solution. Let's look at one more model, the NAM. The NAM 3K. Let's go ahead and back this up here to the morning hours. Currently, the model thinks this is what it looks like, and that's way, way off. So again, models are just kind of all in left field this morning. So let's go ahead and go to noon. This is way off. I'm just going to say that right now. This is way off. The NAM's not having a good handle on things today. Here's noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. There's our second round developing roughly around the Indy down to Terre Haute areas. So I'm going to go ahead and say the NAM model is probably not the most accurate today, just based off what I just looked at. That's way in left field. I would stick to more so the HRRR, which is this model right here, and the RFS. They're kind of in a little bit of agreement there, just a little bit further south on the RFS model. So overall, takeaway from this, the morning round currently out there is going to weaken as it progresses to the east. We should have a break there toward the afternoon hours as we move toward that 1, 2, 3 p.m. time frame. But we get close to that dinner, 4, 5, 6 p.m. time frame. Watch that time for redevelopment somewhere in the central Indiana vicinity. It could be up there by Logansport. It could be down here by Indianapolis. It could be as far south as Terre Haute. Personally, probably is going to be probably somewhere around the I-70 corridor, somewhere around this area right here. Because I'm assuming there's going to be like a boundary outflow boundary from these storms that are currently ongoing, likely spark some additional showers and storms this afternoon, and boundaries like to settle just south of where these storms are currently tracking. So somewhere along this vicinity is where I would expect storms to develop in that evening time frame. Okay. This morning, you cannot rule out this storm here in the Fowler area becoming strong, perhaps severe. Gusty winds, primary concern there, but later on in the afternoon is when we're getting the best concern there for severe weather. I will say as well, based on current radar, there is a pocket of likely strong winds moving into Oxford here. This is actually up over 60 miles per hour in some areas along State Route 352. That's actually very close to severe criteria. Would not be shocked if they slap a warning on this particular cell for the Oxford area as that progresses toward Lafayette. That is actually looking decently strong wind-wise there. So wouldn't be shocked there if you're in the West Lafayette or even Lafayette areas. We have some stronger winds pushing your direction. Be alert for that. Yeah, so the main time frame really for severe weather, I mean, obviously we can have this storm right now go severe, for example, but this is the only storm really we're watching the state for right now. My concern for a bit more scattered severe weather is close to dinner time. We're going to say as early as 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern, and probably as late as, we're going to say 1 to 2 a.m. because models still have storms ongoing at that midnight and a little bit after that time frame. So wide time frame, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern to about 1 to 2 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, we can go back to the risk areas here. Give me a second here. So there's your SPC day 1 outlook. The yellow area is the highest concern today. It's level 2 out of a scale of 5. So it's not a very high-end concern, but it's still a good, we get a lot of severe weather here in Indiana with our slight risks. So it's one to take seriously. all around the slight risk in dark green is the marginal risk. That's places like Lafayette, a little bit north of that, Muncie, a little bit north of that, and down toward Evansville as well. And up further north by Gary, South Bend, Fort Wayne in the light green color, that's just general thunderstorms where no severe weather is expected. But yeah, this is your risk area. Anywhere within dark green or yellow is underneath the risk today for damaging wind as your primary concern, although we cannot rule out a brief tornado, especially here in the green highlighted areas. So Lafayette, Muncie, Indianapolis, Bloomington. We're going to say Vincennes as well as Terre Haute. Any questions, guys? Feel free to pop them in chat. I'll go ahead and answer those if I can. I know it was a little bit of a surprise briefing this morning. This risk was, we knew there was going to be a risk today. It was a marginal risk yesterday. Woke up today and they went ahead and upgraded that to a slight risk. So we wanted to get you guys aware of that. We could have a few storms that go severe today across the state. So more of a scattered threat than a isolated threat. Gracie says, let's get a NATO. I will agree with that, but only if it's in an open field, not causing any damage to life or property. That'd be the most ideal situation there. As a storm chaser, it's always fun to chase tornadoes and storms, but never want to see the damage. So if we can compromise and have a tornado today in an open field that doesn't do any damage, that's awesome. Yeah, Bloomington time frame, again, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern to as late as 1 to 2 a.m. Eastern. I currently do not know if we're going to have storm hunters out there today. I think we will. I think it just kind of depends on what happens where, because like yesterday, I do want to mention this as well. We do have a risk today for flooding. Now, this looks similar to our severe outlooks, but this is actually a rainfall outlook. And a lot of Indiana here from Evansville up to about the Logansport area in the yellow color, that's a slight risk for excessive rainfall. So that's actually a decent risk for flash flooding today. A low-end risk for that extends up toward Valparaiso, Fort Wayne as well in the green area up there, and then also a moderate risk for that, mostly across Illinois, but it does butt in close to Terre Haute there. So do keep in mind that with these storms today, we could have some flash flooding and localized ponding of water on roadways. So old saying applies, turn around, don't drown. We've already seen way too many people lose their vehicles this year to flooding in Indiana. So take that into note as well. We could have some flooding across the state today with any showers or storms that really start training over the exact same areas. Time frame is the same for everybody here, guys. So I'm not going to answer specific location questions. 3 to 4 p.m. as early as 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, as late as 1 to 2 a.m. Eastern. I will go ahead and run you guys through the latest model, just kind of give you guys the hour by hour. In fact, so we just had a new model run come in here. Let's go ahead and look at this real quick. So let's go ahead and back this up to current time 9:30, which is right here. This is 10 o'clock on the model. Here's 11 o'clock Eastern, 12 p.m. noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Here's midnight. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4, 5, 6. So we could have ongoing showers and storms across southern Indiana here all night long, really. But the main risk for severe weather is really tied, we're going to say right around 3 p.m. here at this time frame to about that midnight time frame here at this time frame. So again, one more time for you guys. We're starting here at 2 o'clock. Let's go 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10, 11, and midnight. Yeah, Marion is basically on the edge of the marginal risk, so you are close to it, so pay attention, but you're definitely not in the highest risk today. The highest concern is in yellow. And the risk for a tornado today is the same across the entire risk area here. I'm going to pop it on your screen. If you live in the green, it is the exact same probability no matter where you're at. It's 2 to 4% within 25-mile radius. So what that means essentially is there is a 2 to a 4% chance that you're going to see a tornado. I'm slow down. If you live anywhere here in the green color, it is a 2 to a 4% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of you. if you live in the green zone. If you're in the white zone, there is technically no risk there. We consider that less than 2%. Elizabeth, I don't understand. We've had messages and comments from other people here who are seeing other pages or local TV stations or whoever be it really start hyping these events up. And I, today included, but also yesterday, never really understood why that was, because we caught our briefing back on Friday evening. We were explained the models were not agreeing on anything. We agreed that the environment could support severe weather, but the models were having a very hard time. So anybody who put out one of those forecasts that really started hyping this up, like a derecho or outbreak or anything like that, no, there is nothing that suggested that happening. Nothing. So it's irresponsibility. And I don't understand why a lot of hate got translated over to our page on that, because we never hyped that event up. And the same thing applies today. We have a lot of rain out there. Looking at the radar, we have a lot of rain out there. This could stabilize the atmosphere today and kill our threat later on. That's a possibility, yes. But models today are a bit more of an agreement, which I would agree with a slight risk here for the SPC, that during the afternoon and evening hours here, we could have a threat for some scattered damaging winds across the state today. So I see today's threat a little bit higher than yesterday's threat, just because I think the models have a better handle on things, and I think we're going to destabilize the afternoon hours here. So, but we never want to take the hype approach unless we are genuinely concerned for something. You know what I mean? So. The information that we share, generally speaking, is directly from the official source at NWS or SPC. So these forecasts are not made by us. These are made from the SPC. And we basically communicate what this means to you guys. Now, if we disagree, we're going to tell you that. But for the most part, I don't disagree with this forecast today. So. So a live stream is planned. Again, it was planned yesterday too. We got one warning in the state, so that didn't really warrant a live stream. But if we have numerous warnings and storms that are strong or severe that are ongoing, we'll go live later, yes. I would expect there to be at least a few chasers out today chasing. I can't say for sure. I haven't talked to the entire team yet this morning, but I would expect there to be at least some storm chasers out there today covering these storms. And yeah, Kayleen, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with using their own colors and own forecasts. Like, if they have a meteorologist or somebody who's knowledgeable on staff, that's fine. But you have to be level-headed, and you have to forecast scientifically and not based on what you want to happen. A lot of forecasters, I've noticed on social media, they like to hype it up because they're a storm chaser. They want to see something good, so they're going to make it seem like something it's not. And that's not the way to publicly communicate threats and hazards. So it's always best to keep a level head. And really, the SPC does a good job. Sometimes we'll disagree, but for the most part, there's no reason to really stray off the SPC. We're going to say 80 to 90% of the time. So that's just how we kind of feel here at IWN. Yeah, anywhere in the green colored area, and Muncie is well within that colored area there. So anywhere within green has a 2 to 4% chance of a tornado occurring within 25 miles of you. So for example, in Muncie, you have that 2 to 4% chance of a tornado occurring within a 25-mile radius of Muncie. If you want to think positively, you can also think of it this way. There is a 96 to 98% chance that you don't see a tornado today. So there's your odds. It's a low-end risk, but it's still a risk nonetheless. All right, any other questions, guys? Feel free to pop them in chat here, and we'll go ahead and answer those. But if not, I'll go ahead and wrap up this briefing here. Take a peek at the radar. We'll have a second. Again, that storm's still ongoing as it pushes toward Lafayette. You guys are probably going to get woken up here. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure why this isn't warned. This is obviously there could be a case where these winds are happening off the surface, but that is a pocket just south of 52 there, heading toward the Battleground Lafayette area, of winds on radar that are 50 to 60 miles per hour. So I would, again, not be shocked if they were to slap a warning on this for winds for that Lafayette area. So if you were in the battleground Lafayette area here, I can't confirm these winds are actually mixing down to the surface, but on radar, I would definitely suggest we could have some stronger winds pushing toward Lafayette there. So be aware, be aware of that if you're in the Lafayette area. All right. Yep. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. One last little overview. There is a risk today for both severe weather and also some flash flooding with any training of thunderstorms. Severe threat today is level 2 out of 5 in the yellow areas. So places, hold on. There we go. Level 2 out of 5 for the yellow areas. Places like Indianapolis, Bloomington, and Terre Haute. Around those areas in the dark green color, Lafayette, Muncie, Evansville, that is a marginal risk. It's level 1 out of 5. So the green, dark green is low end risk, and the yellow risk is your highest risk today. Damaging winds, primary concern there. Yellow area, again, highest concern for that. Can't rule it out in the reddish brown color. And then the risk for a tornado today is low, but not zero across much of central and portions of southern Indiana. Okay. Main time frame could be as early as now. We have some severe or some gusty winds here occurring in the Lafayette area with this line of storms, but this is not the main route we're tracking. What happens later on close to 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and after that is going to be what we're going to keep an eye on for some scattered severe weather. But again, can't rule this storm out going severe here near Lafayette. And as it tracks eastward, we could see a trend that suggests a couple severe storms are possible. So be alert there. Lafayette, this line continues. Kokomo, Noblesville, Alexandria, Muncie, and Portland, and also Winchester, if it makes it that far. Again, assuming that does make it that far. It's kind of on an eastward track here. So keep an eye on the radar this morning. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys later for an update on how it's looking for this afternoon. One last look at the model run here for those of you just tuning in or just hopped on a few minutes ago. Model run today. Here's noon today, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., again, Eastern time, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10, 11, and midnight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 a.m. So main threat for severe weather today, 3 to 4 p.m. to about midnight or so, 1 a.m. at the latest. And then we could have ongoing showers and storms across southern Indiana all night long with this latest model guidance suggesting that. So with that said, I'm going to pop out of here. You guys enjoy your day. We'll catch you guys later. If we have enough warnings here to warrant a live stream, we'll go live and cover that for you. Enjoy your day, guys. I'll catch you later.